Welcome to Understanding Her More, where men listen, learn, and appreciate our woman. I'm your host, Katie K, and today we have sharing with us on the topic of help meet. Yeah, help meet. What is that, right? But we will get right into that if you just stick and stay with us. So we have two beautiful ladies sharing with us on the topic. And we have Miss Kenecia McDonald, woo, and Taisha James. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you, Katie,
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Not a problem. How are you ladies doing? I hope we're keeping safe.
As best as we can.
Awesome. Taisha?
Keeping safe and sane.
Saying is important. Very
No,
important.
yes.
All right. So, help me. A lot of persons might be wondering, what is that really? So we're going to start with Kenecia McDonald, Miss McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
What is help meet really? What is that centered around?
All right. So my understanding of the word, whenever I hear help meet, I'm also thinking of another word, which is helper.
Mm-hmm.
But some persons might say in our generation know that that's the wrong way of looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I am thinking about the word and I'm thinking a help meet, could it be translated as a helpmate, which means that you are there to complement somebody. Because when you talk about the word helper, you think about somebody who is over you and you are there just to serve the person.
Which
So
is
yeah, so
understandable.
right. So I'm liking the term helpmate over help meet.
Help meet. All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So Taisha, what is your understanding of help meet?
Alright, so based on my reading, I found out that in the context that it was originally used, right? Because we want to understand it in the context it was used in the Bible. It actually refers to someone who is opposite to you but corresponds with you. So it's a companion to help you to carry out your duties. And I thought it was just very interesting that it really spoke about someone who is opposite. So in the context of relationships, if we're talking about like intimate relationships, when God said that he would make a helpmeet for Adam, he was going to make someone of the opposite sex,
Opposite,
not
right?
someone of the same sex.
Which is very important as we delve into the roles of a woman in a man's life. How far should she go in being a helpmate per se? It doesn't have to be your friend. It can be your best friend. It can be your brother. It can be your boyfriend. It can be your husband. How far, and I'm going to pick up back with Miss McDonald, how far should a woman go in her respective role in that man's life? So let's start with her being a best friend. Or let's use even this perfect one, which is very popular. Girlfriend being a helpmate to the extent of a wife.
Well, that's a very debatable topic because I think it depends on what your values are. But in my personal opinion, and just fundamentally speaking, if we're having a girlfriend situation, then I cannot be treating you as if you were my husband because why would you need to propose then? If I
Right.
am and it's not to say I'm going to treat you bad, but if we're looking at the context of girlfriend and boyfriend as it relates to dating, then there has to be some limits. I cannot treat
Some
you as if,
boundaries.
yeah, there has to be some boundaries. I cannot
There's
treat you as if you're my husband. We're not there yet.
Exactly. There's no farmer say, she looks like the woman I want to marry. Let me marry her to see what's next. There's no level like that. You're
Yeah,
introducing
yeah.
him to
There's nothing to look
all the
forward to because
qualities.
we're
Right.
enjoying it right now. Yeah.
Right. So how far really should a woman, a girlfriend in that situation go? Where does the boundaries cross? What should I do? What shouldn't I do? I know you said it goes back to your qualities, your personality, what
Your
it is that you're.
personal, it goes to your values, because there are persons who think it is okay to live with the person that they're dating, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
In this day and age, people have so many definitions of relationships. It's sad, because
It is very
it in no way complements what the Bible says that we're supposed to be doing. Yeah.
exactly
So, which is why I keep saying it goes back to your values, because there are
that
persons
again.
who really don't believe in marriage. And
That's
so, as long
it.
as they say they find somebody that they're in love with, then it's
Then
okay
it's
to move in
fine.
with this person, and it doesn't matter if I get the ring. Yeah.
And it's so funny, you know. The previous episode was all about that, and the ring is of so much value, people. The ring is of so much value in if we're supposed to go into marriage. But
Mm-hmm.
as Miss McDonald rightfully said, it's all about a woman's value, and it is dependent on those values as to how far you go.
Yeah.
Does it stop when I move in? So just moving in, and that's really where me helping you go in complimenting you as a man. I ensure that you eat breakfast, dinner, but that's as far as it goes. Whereas there are some women who I won't cook for you, I won't wash for you, I won't clean for you.
So,
Go.
Katie, if I'm being honest, I am very traditional.
Mm-hmm.
I and independent at the same time. I
Right.
don't mind doing all of these things for my husband,
Right.
but I expect my husband in like manner to do the same. I don't believe that the woman alone should be
Should
cooking
be
or she
doing.
alone should be washing. I believe if we're both working, for example, if my
Mm-hmm.
husband gets home before me,
Mm-hmm.
there shouldn't be a problem for him to start the meal. When I come in,
Amen.
I can choose to join him in preparing the meal. If
Amen.
it is
Then
that
not
I am
just.
home all day though and he's at
Then I cook the
work,
dinner.
then
Exactly.
I didn't have no problems with that. But if I'm in
And
a marriage, I can tell you I have no problems taking care of my man. All right?
amen. Amen
Yes.
to that.
So
And
I
this
look
is where
out for him, he looks
and
out
he
for
should look
me,
up for
and
me,
exactly. But I'm
which is
going to have a
perfect.
problem if I'm looking out for him and he's
He's
looking
not
out for
looking up for
himself. Who
exactly.
looking out for me?
That's it. And that's a
Yeah.
solid question.
You
And
know,
this is where
Katie,
I'm going to go ahead, Taisha.
Yes.
I think that's why it's important that we establish boundaries as to how far you help. For example,
Mm-hmm.
if you're just in a boyfriend girlfriend relationship, you're not supposed to help to the extent of a wife.
That is
So
it.
yeah, you ask the person, you check up on them how they're doing, you show interest in their well-being. But
Mm-hmm.
really and
And it's
truly, when you
okay to
put that
motivate
boundary
them
there
too.
where you're not overdoing, it safeguards you because as Miss Max said, who is looking out for me? If you're
Mm.
doing everything, then it's like in a way you diminish your value and you touch down value. And I think that's one of the common mistakes a lot of females make because we're naturally helpers, we're naturally doers. We go into
Mm.
relationships and we want to do so much and you want to just be there, and you keep giving and giving. And it's like the more you give out of yourself and you're not getting anything in return to like replenish you,
Mm-hmm.
you in a way diminish your value. And then the next person you move on to is as if you don't have that much in reserve to give anymore. So by the time you finally
Mm.
get to the one, you
You're
are
all
half of a
out of it.
helpmeet.
Yeah, and it's so it's I'm happy you said that in where we're just giving. And when we have given so much in this capacity as the girlfriend, when I reach the wife stage, nothing excites me anymore. I'm not excited to cook your breakfast and your dinner because I was doing that all along. I'm not excited. I mean, the roles and responsibilities I should now take on as a wife, but did I already take them on as your girlfriend? So there's nothing new. There's nothing. How you could have said no? What's the word? Sparkling
No
in interest.
element
If
of
you say no element of wow, you
surprise.
do this so nicely. You know, because all of those were established. And the worst part, you might be draining yourself for this person who doesn't even
Exactly.
work.
But Katie, that's the
And
thing. In a
I think
dating relationship, it should just be that. And the truth is you should allow the other person the what's the word I'm looking for? Give them the opportunity to have something to look forward to. Because if
Exactly.
I'm doing all of this now, it should be that today I mean you can still cook for your boyfriend, on a date.
Yeah.
But
On
it
a,
shouldn't
yeah,
be
a
give
surprise
him
thing.
something to look forward to. So
Yeah, but it should be something he's used to.
yeah, you're giving him a little tease of what is to come if he should
Right.
marry you. Don't give him everything at once.
true.
Taisha was saying
Um,
something?
Hmm.
yes, I was saying that we also have to establish boundaries in the context of what is reasonable. For
Yeah.
Mm.
example, you have students in college now, university, and they're dating, and both of you carry a full coursework load, 18 credits or 16 credits, and you always getting up and going home and cooking dinner, and then your work get left behind,
Sis,
assignments piling up.
sis.
And when Anna's convocation come around, Goody a
Him
walk
alone
on
I get.
stage
I
and collect
mean,
him medal, and you just sit down in the crowd as
and
the
you're cheering
cheerleader
him.
girlfriend. No,
No,
no, that's not
no.
working. You have to be
Listen.
reasonable. I was in a class where a teacher told me that story how she was in university and she got so caught up with this boy doing everything for him, cooking his meal. And before she realized, she was there helping him to the point where her grades suffered. And in the end, he moved on and leave her because he was just using her as convenience. So
Look
it
at
is
that.
important. I think sometimes we make the mistake of wanting to do so much as a way to secure the person. Sis, if
Mm,
he is for you, he'll
mm,
be for you. You don't need
mm.
to be overdoing anything as if you are. I think it gives way to insecurity. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure that you win them over with all that you are
Mm.
doing. No, if
But
if God put
Taisha,
your name on it, it's yours.
he-
You don't have to be
Amen.
doing 100 and a million things. No.
That
here's
deserves a
another
repeat.
perspective came to my mind as Taisha was talking.
Mm-hmm.
Taisha mentioned the idea of you doing all of this to secure yourself.
Mm.
Earlier, before we started discussing, Katie, you brought up the idea about women being natural caretakers.
Mm-hmm.
We do it
It's
naturally
in our blood,
sometimes,
right?
yeah, even unconsciously. Sometimes women go into relationship or young girls, and before you know it, as Taisha pointed out, you're doing all of this. And you're not doing it because you want to, you sat and you say, okay, I need to do all of this to secure, to make sure
Mm-hmm.
I have him.
It's like
Sometimes
it became
it
a
just
habit.
happens. Yeah, he
Yeah.
comes over, I'm going to cook. He has clothes to wash, I'm gonna say, okay, it's all right, you can carry them, come, I'll wash them for you. Sometimes you just find yourself doing these things, but it is for you to get to become conscious to say, why am I
That is
playing the
it.
role of a wife or a mother to this man?
That is it.
And
That
where
is it.
we should just be dating.
That
But
is it. And
society has changed our perspective so
of
much
everything.
that if
Of
we're not
everything.
careful, Katie, we get into this cycle and don't even realize it.
And it's I find it so sad that you and Taisha pointed out some very important points. I especially have to repeat the one where Taisha said, we invest so much in the men, and it doesn't even have to be um a boyfriend, a fiance, a wife, even the male friends that we have in our life. We
Yeah.
invest so much in them to the point where people will think, have you ever had a friend in your life, and how much the times you invest in them, people wonder if you're dating?
As you said that, a friend of mine said to me the other day that we must be careful of our relationships with our best friends.
No, it
He
is. We should.
said there was a particular young lady right throughout her university life. She was best friend with this guy, and everybody thought they were together.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't tell people they were not together, but they
Right.
really weren't. And there were persons who were interested in the young lady, but they would never talk to her because they
Because
thought
she
she was
thought she
with
was in
that
a
person.
relationship.
And
That's
then at
it.
the
That is
end
it.
of it, the young lady lost out because the persons who wanted to really pursue her
She
could not
wasn't
have
focused
done
on
so
them,
because they
and
kept
that's it.
seeing her all the time with this other
With
young
this
man. And then
one guy.
after a few years or so, this young man went on and married the love of his life and moved on with his life.
Look
And the
at
young
that.
lady is there single because he was saying young men too need to be careful. I know
That
we've
is
been thinking
true.
a lot about females, but there are men out there who they will do all of these things for the woman in their
For the
lives and
woman
they're
in
not
their
married.
lives. That is
Yeah.
true. That is true. And as you highlighted, it is crucial. It is very important. It is life threatening that we
It
set boundaries.
Yeah, it
We
happens
need
in
to
both
set
genders.
Listen, we need to set boundaries because we don't want it to be a case, and I'm going to highlight all these things. We don't want it to be a case where
You
we
have
end up
to.
like the woman, the friend who got left behind in the tracks. We don't want
Yep.
to end up like the cheerleader in the award ceremony. We don't want to end up as the wife who has now become the mother. We do not want to end up in those situations where I'm your wife and I'm literally feeling like a mother. It should never be that case. But it goes back to boundaries, knowing who we are as an individual. What am I to you? And it is
Mhm.
acting on those roles. And it goes back. We have to. I want us to touch on how society has changed a lot of things for us. We.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Oh, Katie,
Hmm.
Yes. Go ahead.
just before you go to that, as you guys were talking and talking about how we have a lot of male friends and we must be careful how we operate with those best friends, something came to my mind that the whole aspect of helping is
Mm-hmm.
like is a special part of you, and when you give that to everybody else, it diminishes the value it will have to that special person God has set aside for you. It's as if you become so
Amen.
accessible to
Mm,
everybody because you're so nice to everybody and doing everything for
yeah.
everybody. No, we need to stop that.
It's like going around calling everybody babe, and then when you find that person, you're like babe as well. So it's like
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
it doesn't mean anything, and we
Right.
in a nice way we throw ourselves around so loosely in the sense that we are so as Taisha said, we are so accessible to everybody, or let's just be more specific, to males in our lives. So if our best friends, if not even best friends only, but when males in our lives, whether friends, fiancés, boyfriends, call us, we're there at the snap of a finger doing things we shouldn't be doing. And we draw back in the sense, I think we need to draw back in the sense of what am I? And we need to ask ourselves the question, what am I to this person? Is what I'm doing healthy? Because these behaviors can become so unhealthy to the point where, as a friend, because I did so much for you, I don't expect you to move on with your life without me.
True. Because helping, there's this principle of basically persons will want to reciprocate. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like a law of attraction. So if I'm doing something for you, I expect you to do it in return. And so a lot
Right.
of times persons end up in what are really situationships, not realizing they never really
Wow.
liked each other, they never really loved each other, but just because they were around each other a lot and doing stuff for each other, and that created a bond between them,
Mm. It's
they
kind
kind
of
of
like a
just went
soulmate thing.
along. Right.
So like we're not meant for each other, but we're soulmates. What is that even true? Does that exist? Where like if I'm your
I
soulmate, why aren't you
I
not
mean,
meant
if it's your
for me?
soulmate, I think you're meant for each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I'm your soulmate, why aren't you meant for me? Because I've heard it so often. You're my soulmate, but we're not meant for each other. Like what? Why aren't you meant for me? If you're my soulmate and we connect so much, I mean, being my soulmate mean we're compatible. I mean, we synchronize. We're perfect for each other, despite our flaws. Then why aren't you meant for me? And I, it is sad. It is sad, the whole help me thing and our boundaries, because again, going back to the root of the conversation, values. Our values vary. And what we would do for the men in our lives vary. What I would do, Taisha wouldn't do. Or what Taisha would do, Miss Mac wouldn't do. And so it goes back to values. And I think we should have a broad foundation of values where we say, okay, this is what it is and not what society deems it to be. So that is it where that...
But
Go ahead.
Katie, I just want to point out though, if we're looking at the biblical definition of help meet, as in what Taisha highlighted before, where God created Adam, somebody of opposite sex, when you read the Bible and interpret the definition of it though, help meet was interpreted as your spouse. And your spouse biblically is your husband or your wife. So we really should not be doing all of this for somebody who we're should be
not
dating.
Yet. Right.
There's no obligation.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that is the case.
Yeah, because now we have society telling us that we should not buy puss in the bag, for example. So we need to sample first. So I need to live with this person before I get married to them to make sure that we are compatible.
That is it. And I'm like, listen, that doesn't have to be the case. You know,
it doesn't have to be this. If you're going to have
faith
and if you pray to God and God has told you that, yes, this is the person I want, not the person that you brought to God and say, okay, God, here he is and I love this man, I want you to bless our union. The man who you are sure God placed in your life.
Yeah. And that is very, very important.
But we tend to find them first and bring it to God and say, God, to the man, this is the man I love, please bless the union. And when it don't work out, no, we say, God, what is happening?
Yes, if every single one of our episodes, this comes out. Us trying to change the man or make the man who we want them to be.
Oh, babe. You're not their mother.
And that is it. It goes back to the whole situation of us taking on responsibilities we should not be taking on. And it is so unfortunate. Ladies, we need to set boundaries. If we follow foundation, we can't go wrong. We definitely cannot go wrong. And Taisha and Kenecia pointed out some very solid information. But ladies, what would you advise to those who are actually... who sing the song? Celine Dion? No, let me not do that.
Which song?
The song that goes, I will cross the ocean for you. Oh, I will go and bring you the moon. I will be. I mean, I guess they are using the whole literary devices to express how much they love the person. But don't cross certain boundaries for no man that is not your husband or you're not sure of a future with. Don't cross certain boundaries.
So it's okay to sing that song to my husband then?
I mean, can you cross the ocean? But what advice, starting with Taisha, what advice would you give to ladies, young women in general, who seem to find it as a habit to cross boundaries for men who are not their husbands, men who are not even their partners?
All right. So I would say take some time to just step back and reflect, assess your life. There's no need to listen to this podcast and get up in your feelings, but just listen to the truth that came out in it. And if it came up your alley, assess yourself, reflect, look at your habits and the results they've been bringing over and over again. Pray about it. Be honest with it. You have to be honest with where you are in order for you to grow and to move. So self-assessment and self-reflection, being honest with self, setting goals, and then seeing how you can go about achieving those goals. Talk to other persons who can mentor you, persons who would have gone through that phase of life, and glean some knowledge from their experience.
Solid. So it's like, as I would put that in a nutshell, living through one's experience. Let persons it's I always say, I like to keep company of older folks because they speak so much light and life and wisdom because they have gone through certain experiences and they're better able to advise you as such. I mean, it might be a different case for you, but it never hurts to take advice from those who would have encountered or would have been in a similar situation as you would have been in. So definitely, Taisha, doing some self-reflection, reflect, take some inward look at yourself, say, shoots, macan, no not touch upon macan. And as Taisha said, don't get up in your feelings. This platform is for us to learn and appreciate and to just make some adjustments where necessary. So now we will have Miss McDonald sharing her advice to women who might be crossing boundaries they should not be crossing.
All right, so it's around similar grounds as to what Taisha mentioned. For me, the first thing that I tell people to do is to pause. If you hear something that makes you uncomfortable, chances are you're doing it wrong, and you need to do something differently. So be honest
Mm-hmm.
with yourself. Nobody knows you better than you. You know what your
Mm-hmm.
goals are. You know what you want out of life. You have also lived it before and you realize it's not going the way you want to go. So just
Mm-hmm.
take that time to really do some self reflection, consult with God. It can't hurt. Even if you say, okay, I don't believe in God, it can't hurt because
What do
you
you have
do.
to lose?
Yeah, what do you have to lose? Even if you don't believe in Him, you probably believe that there is a higher being out there. So use that. You understand? And take some time for yourself. And if it is that you do decide to go into a relationship, learn what it is that you need to do to make sure that it is successful. So, yes, you consult with your elders, you talk to your friends, get other people's experiences and use them. Google. Everybody has a smartphone these days. You can Google it. All right. So you get as much information as possible and you use that to guide your next relationship. Make a chart if you have to. These are the things that I should be expecting to reach this goal that I want. And if this is
Solid.
happening, then I should consider these as my red flags to know something is not right. Yeah.
Solid.
But being honest
Solid.
with yourself is number one.
Solid point. So, ladies, let us just in having healthy relationships, it's important to understand who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And we cannot end the program without highlighting the key factors. Honesty.
Yeah.
Being honest with yourselves, saying, hey, I need to do better. I need to be better. It's also about communicating with God. That is very important in every relationship that we take. And for them to be healthy and successful. And we don't want to, ladies, we do not want to be playing no wife duties for no friend. That not play. That is not playing. Right? So we should not be engaging in certain roles or certain duties in positions we're not entitled to do so. So let us set some ground values for ourselves. Let us set some real big man standards for ourselves so that we can be able to respect ourselves as women and respect the roles in which we are in our men's life. So at this time, I want to say a big thank you to Miss Kenecia McDonald and Taisha James. Thank you, ladies.
You're most
You're
welcome,
welcome.
Katie. Thank you for having me as well. It was quite
Not a problem.
enlightening.
It was a pleasure. Huge pleasure.
Nope.
All right,
Was
so
my pleasure too.
to
Anytime again.
all right, great stuff. I love that when you guys say that. Trust me, I love it. I know that I always have y'all on a list to get back. All right, but to our audience, thanks for growing with thanks for being a part of the family. Thanks for supporting us as always. But be sure to go on our social media handle. That's Instagram at understanding her more. So that's understanding underscore her underscore more. To be sure to tune in for the next episode. You can keep up to date with all the information on our Instagram. But until then, keep safe. I'm your host, Katie K.